Do you usually use pens or pencils? I almost never use pencils. I'm definitely a pen person. I can't even remember the last time that I used a pencil. It must have been in grade school doing math exercises or something like that. Which do you use more often, pens or pencils? I always use pens, although sometimes I use pencils for drawing. I don't do that very much, but I wish I had more time to do it. I used to be really good at drawing, and I'd use different colored pencils all the time. When was the last time you bought a pen or pencil? I had to buy some pens recently for my new school semester. I really love to buy new pens, as I love the feel of new fine tip pens, although I get a little bit annoyed at their prices because sometimes they can be really expensive per pen. What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present? My uncle gave me a really expensive pen for my high school graduation, and I actually still have it. I really love it, and I was quite impressed by his thoughtfulness. I think in the future I might also give pens as a graduation present to someone else.
Do you usually use pen or pencil? And it's a tool to finish paperwork and attending class. You have to take down some notes as a college student, and you have to use your pen or pencil to part some tasks and to write down some symbols or figures. So pen and pencil is a necessity in the study progress for a college students. So I would say I usually use pen or pencil, and it's of vital importance for me to let my get through this period of time. Which do you use more often, pen or pencil? And I would say I definitely choose pen because the words and the phrases, the figures written by pen is clear. And when you are writing with your pen, and you can see that the pen is very smooth and you are very comfortable with your hands and with your mind. And you can also use your pen to practice handwriting and which is representative of Chinese calligraphy. So besides, words can be also when it comes to the pencil, we can see that the words can be erased by the eraser, so which is not secure sometimes if someone want to trick on you or want to do something bad to your paperwork. So I would say I usually use pen more often. And when was the last time you bought a pen or pencil? And uh, I assume it's before the final exams, because at that time there is a great need in completing all kinds of papers and works and a lot of essays. You need to use your pen to complete them. So at that time, I buy a lot of pencil in different colors, the red, the black, and the blue, to take some notes and to address the main points of this kind of, and use the black pen to finish all the paper of the exams. What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present? First, I would be very appreciated for this kindness and for the man who give me a pen or pencil as a present, and I will do cherish this gift and as a very important thing to accompany me for a very long time. But the pen or pencil is a consumable things, and it can be consumed or can be used very in a very short term. So I may not want to use it very often. I just want to uh, let them in to keep them with me and in my pencil box or in my bag, and to see them as a connection between me and my friends. And I will see this gift as a reminder of me to think about it, or or to think about him or she when we were separated. So I think I would definitely regard them as a connection and as a reminder of our friendship and our relationship.
When was the last time you bought a pen or pencil? Well, actually, it's been a long time since I couldn't remember that clearly. Maybe 5 years ago, before I just took part in the university entrance exam. After becoming a college student, I got rid of the habit of using a pen or pencil. The laptop and the mobile phone were my favorite, till now. Using a pen or pencil can be old-fashioned in my mind. Not an effective and efficient way for study. I suppose that this habit wouldn't be changed any longer in the near future. So that's it. Have you ever given a pen or pencil as a gift? Well, nope, I haven't. Since not a lot of people today like to use a pen or pencil in life. In the past, some of them might use a pen or pencil each day, both in life and work, or even like in studies. But I suppose that it wasn't that popular then. An iPad or any product could be more fashionable when giving and receiving gifts nowadays. The traditional ones like the pens or pencils, for example, quite old-fashioned in my mind. So that's it.
Do you usually use pen or pencil? Not really. I nearly use my computer to do everything. Computers become small and thin nowadays. They can be carried to every corner of the world. I can take notes by my computer and use some software functions to solve problems encountered in daily life. It's really convenient.
Do you usually use pen or pencil? I do usually use a pen simply because I find it easier to write with a pen. On the other hand, it is much easier for other people to read ink rather than pencil. What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present? I think it is very neat and pleasant if someone gives me a pen as a present. However, if it's on a major holiday or celebration such as Christmas or my birthday, I would expect a present that is a little bit more expensive than just a pen. But for the most part, I would feel very delighted if someone gives me such a small and delicate gift.
Pen and pencil. Do you usually use pen or pencil? Well, if we're talking about Apple Pen, I guess yes. But for regular pens, I guess not. Especially pencils, it is just very annoying to constantly sharpen them. Which do you use more often? Pen or pencil? If I have to pick one, I will go for pen. Pencils always break and it takes ages to sharpen them. When was the last time you bought a pen or pencil? Let me see. A couple of days ago. I bought a pen from airport as I couldn't find one to sign for some paper. What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present? Personally, I don't like that. Even a pen or pencil can be really fancy. I still prefer things like books.
Okay, so let's talk about pen and pencil. Which do you use more often, pen or pencil? Definitely pens. Actually, I just don't even get a pencil in my flat. So I always use my pens just to record my life and make some to-do list on my notebooks. So sometimes I think traditional way is enough for me, yeah. Okay, when was the last time you bought a pen? Around a week ago, maybe. There's a stationery shop just near the flat I live in, so I bought a pen there, which is off-brand and not very good to use. I can't even write down things smoothly. Well, what do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present? Well, personally, I think it is acceptable if he or she just want to show politeness to me. But it seems that he or she is not very patient to pick out a good gift.
Okay, here is a video on the topic of pen and pencils, but before I start this, I just want to say something. I read a comment that I'm being mean to the people on whose responses I comment. These people are not students, these people are not candidates, these are people who sell these answers as a response. You can go to their website, or you can go to Taobao in China and you can pay them and they will give you these responses. These people are essentially delivering a service. So if I'm being harsh on some of the responses, it's because this is something that these people offer for sale. I think it's fair to critique them. They're making money from this. Having said that, let's have a listen to sample 1.
Do you usually use pens or pencils? I almost never use pencils. I'm definitely a pen person.
Okay, let me just say something about this question, because some people misunderstand the meaning. The question is not, do you sometimes use pens and pencils? Or do you usually use pens and pencils? It's or, meaning the examiner wants you to say whether you prefer A or B. Choose one. Unless, of course, you don't use either. This guy doesn't make this mistake, but later on we're going to see a couple of responses where they get the question kind of wrong. Okay, the language here, I'm definitely a noun person. Like when we talk about pets, some people say, I'm definitely a pet person. This guy says, I'm definitely a pen person. That's fine to say.
I almost never use pencils. I'm definitely a pen person. I can't even remember the last time that I used a pencil. It must have been in grade school doing math exercises or something like that.
All right. So some speculation here. Using the modal must. So it must have been in grade school. It's a good idea to use modals in your answer. And if we look at the grammar here, it says it must have been in grade school doing math exercises. You will see here the pronoun is omitted. So he doesn't say it must have been in grade school when I was doing math exercises. If your English is not that great, maybe you should not omit the subject. But he does it and it's okay. Next question.
Which do you use more often? Pens or pencils?
This is not the real question. They got the question wrong here. Because what on earth is the difference between this question and this question? It's essentially the same thing. And if the examiner asks you, do you use pens or pencils? And you say, I almost never use pencils. They would be crazy to then go and ask you, which do you use more often, pens or pencils? This is not a real question. But let's listen to this anyway.
I always use pens, although sometimes I use pencils for drawing. I don't do that very much, but I wish I had more time to do it.
Okay, so he's pretty consistent with the present tense, except here when he talks about the wish.
I used to be really good at drawing, and I'd use different colored pencils all the time.
Okay, he's switching here to the past tense. Notice here he uses the would. I would use different colored pencils. So just be careful when you use would, because it can either mean that you are wishing for something that's not true, or you're talking about the past. Let's move on.
When was the last time you bought a pen or pencil?
Well, this question makes more sense.
I had to buy some pens recently for my new school semester. I really love to buy new pens as I love
hang on a second here. I really love. Alright, never mind.
as I love the feel of new fine tip pens.
Okay, so here we have some vocabulary specific to pens. Fine tip. So fine, so the diameter is very narrow. New fine tip pens.
Although I get a little bit annoyed at their prices because sometimes they can be really expensive per pen.
Now here at the end it gets weird. I don't know why he says they can get really expensive per pen. Why do you need the per pen part? Because when you buy a pen, you pay for each pen. It's not necessary to say this. So they can be really expensive would have been fine. Next one.
What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present?
Now this question, for some reason they use the present tense. What do you think? But the question really should be, what would you think? Because this might not actually have happened to you. So the real question would be, what would you think if someone gave you a pen or a pencil as a present? Here's the response.
My uncle gave me a really expensive pen for my high school graduation, and I actually still have it. I really love it, and I was quite impressed by his thoughtfulness.
Okay, so here he uses the word actually. Where is actually? Oh, here, actually I still have it. Here he uses actually correctly because, well, I don't know how old he is, but we might be surprised that he still has the pen, because maybe his high school graduation was a long time ago, so it might be surprising that he still has it. So actually here is fine, unlike some people who really overuse the word actually. Let's see here. Thoughtfulness. This is not a word I hear too much. I was quite impressed by his thoughtfulness. That's a good word to use.
I think in the future I might also give pens as a graduation present to someone else.
What can I say here? Not much, except the also. I might also give pens. Notice the stress on also there.
I might also give pens as a graduation present to someone else.
Okay. Pretty good answers. If you paid for this, I think you didn't waste your money. Let's go on and have a listen to sample 2. Okay, so let's look at the written form of the responses. You might notice in the first response, he uses I quite a bit. Here we have I, I'm, I. He does get away with that because the answer is quite short. So it's still quite connected. It doesn't come across as that repetitive. The question does ask specifically about you. If it was a very long answer and he always used I in the beginning, it would sound a little bit repetitive. Let's see, second question. Which do you use? Well, he starts off with a very clear answer. Here we have some referencing. I don't do that very much, referring back to drawing, but I wish I had more time to do it. Okay, so again, some referencing here. Colored pencils, I don't think that's all that great. Let's go to the next question. When was the last time? Let's see, new school semester. It's pretty average. Like I mentioned before, I really do like this. Fine tip pens. Annoyed, when he says annoyed, he does add a bit, right? I get a little bit annoyed. This bit really helps him sound more natural. And we've got the right preposition here, annoyed at. We've got some pronouns here. We've got their prices, they. For the last question, quite. I was quite impressed. You will notice when we listen to Chinese speakers speak, they don't use words like bit or quite a lot, and that's quite a pity, because like I said so many times, if you use this, you're going to sound more natural. The modals are always a good idea, and that's about it. Now let's really get back to the second response. All right, here we go.
Do you usually use pen or pencil?
Okay, pens and pencils are countable, so if we use it as a singular noun, we do need the article a.
And it's a tool to finish paperwork and attending class.
Now what is the it? Does it refer to pens or pencils? I don't know. It sounds to me like he's giving a definition of what a pen or a pencil is. That's not what the question is asking.
Tool to finish paperwork and attending class.
And here we have an infinitive to finish, but then after the conjunction ends, we have a gerund, attending. If you have a conjunction, on the one side you can't have an infinitive, and on the other side have a gerund. If it's to finish and to attend, you can't have attending. Anyway, people don't use pens or pencils to attend class. You use your feet, you walk to class. This is not the right word to use.
You have to take down some notes.
That's a good phrase, take down some notes. Yeah. As a college student. Oh.
As a college student.
He says then he says students.
And you have to use your pen or pencil to pass some tasks.
Oh, I think you just said come up, some task. There's nothing there. I put a question mark, but I think there's no need for that.
Pencil to pass some tasks.
Yeah, you just said come up. Okay, so it should be come up with. Okay, so here it needs to be come up with some tasks. You come up with things.
Use your pen or pencil to pass some tasks and to write down some symbols or figures.
Okay, so far he still hasn't answered the question.
So, pen and pencil is a necessity.
Again, it should be a, or it should be pens and pencils, or a.
In the study progress for a college student.
Okay, so again, he's not talking about himself, he's talking about students in general.
I would say I usually use pen or pencil.
Okay, and here, somewhere in the middle, I guess the answer is hidden. So I would say I usually use pen or pencil. But the question is, which one? Is it a pen or is it a pencil? So we still don't know. So I think if you give an answer like this in the test, the examiner is going to repeat the question and they're going to stress or. They're going to say, do you usually use a pen or a pencil? That's probably what's going to happen.
For a college student, so I would say I usually use pen or pencil, and it's of vital importance for me to get through this period of time. When it comes to the pencil, we can see that the words can be
the words, not the worlds.
Erased by the eraser.
Okay, see, here he attempts the passive voice. Well, not attempts, he actually uses the passive voice. The words can be erased by the eraser, but see, because of these mistakes, it detracts from the good grammar.
By the eraser, so which is not secure sometimes if someone
writing by pencil is not secure. Why?
Want to trick on you or
people don't trick on you. You can play tricks on someone, but if you use trick as a verb, there's no preposition. Prepositions don't follow verbs. So if somebody wants to play a trick on you, or if somebody wants to trick you,
trick on you or want to do something bad to.
Now if it's someone, it should be someone wants to. So we need an S here. Someone is singular.
Want to do something bad to your paperwork.
Somebody wants to do something bad to your paperwork. I don't even know what this means. What bad things do people do to paperwork?
So I would say I usually use pen more often.
These examples of people doing bad things to paperwork and secretly erasing things and all of that, the examiner does not have time for that. not interested in all that. Just answer the question.
And when was the last time you bought a pen or pencil?
Okay, here he uses an article, but he says and pen. Okay.
And I assume it's before the final exam.
Okay, so this guy is using discourse markers. A lot of books, a lot of people encourage you to use discourse markers, and that's fine. But you need to use them correctly. Here, you cannot use assume. If you assume things, it means you are not sure about something, but you're taking an educated guess. Why does he need to guess what he did in his own life? And why is he using the present tense? It was before the final exams. This is surely in the past.
Because at that time, there is a great need in completing all kinds of papers.
And he continues with the present tense. But again, before the final exams, isn't that in the past?
Need in completing all kinds of papers.
There's a great need to complete. There's no great need in VING. This is not the right grammar. There's a great need to complete all kinds of papers.
Works and a lot of essays, you need to use your pen to complete them.
And here, why do we need the extra pronoun? And a lot of essays, you need to use your pen to complete them. I don't know why the word order is wrong. This is them here that I don't quite understand. It should be, and you need a pen to complete the essays. You need a pen to complete the essays. The word order is wrong. Not sure why we have the them here.
So at that time, I buy a lot of pencil in different colors.
A lot of pencil. Pencils are countable, so I buy a lot of pencils. But he just said you need pens. Now he's saying he bought pencils. Confusing.
Red, the black, and the blue to take some notes and to...
It's fine to use the colors, but really, do you think you're going to get a high score if you use the words black, blue? Or are you just wasting your time saying this? This is just taking up time. No one is impressed by you knowing the word black or blue.
Address the main points of this kind of, and...
Of this kind of what? There's no noun after this preposition. Address the main points of this kind of task. This kind of... What is missing here? Maybe task?
Kind of, and use the black pen to finish all the paper of the exam.
Papers are countable, but it's not paper of the exam. It's exam papers. These two nouns go together. So I use a black pen to finish all the exam papers.
What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present?
Same as the previous guy, this is not the right question. This should be what would you think if someone gave you a pen or a pencil as a present?
First, I would be very appreciated for...
See, here he uses would because this has not really happened to him. So the question should also use would.
His kindness.
But here he uses the wrong adjective. Well, actually he uses a verb.
I would be very appreciated.
Appreciates a verb. The adjective is appreciative. So I would be very appreciative of this kindness. It's a good idea. He's trying to use more complex grammar here, but he just doesn't do it successfully, unfortunately.
His kindness, and for the man who give me a pen or pencil as a present.
Why men? Why not the person? And here it's present tense, but it should be past, right? Because he's already given you this gift, or she. So for the person who gave me this pen or pencil as a present.
And I will do cherish this gift.
Nope. Cherish is a verb, so we don't need an auxiliary verb. So I will cherish this gift.
You cherish this gift.
Okay, so I will cherish this gift. Cherish is a nice idea, but he spoils it with this grammar.
Gift, and as a very important thing to accompany me for a very long time.
Pencils cannot accompany you because pencils cannot move. If something or someone, well, usually it's people who accompany you, it means they go with you. Pencils cannot go anywhere. You take them. So pencils don't accompany you.
But the pen or pencil is a...
He goes on. Okay, it's a consumable thing.
Consumable things, and it can be consumed or can be used very short term.
Okay, it is true. Pens and pencils are a type of consumable product. So maybe he could have said a pen or a pencil is a consumable product. It can be okay. Let's go on.
Or can be used very short term. So I may not want to use it very often. I just want to.
This is so long. This is so long.
To keep them with me and in my pencil box or in my bag, and to see them as a connection between me and my friends. And I see.
Yeah, my advice would be stop talking. Stop talking. It's too long. How would you feel? Not what would you do. The question was how would you feel? Okay. So he would prefer to keep it in his pencil box, and that might be true, but remember, in the test you have a limited amount of time in which to deliver your answers. So you might want to judge what you want to say and what you want to keep to yourself. You don't need to say everything that's true. Say the things that are going to give you a good score. This is not it. I mean, keeping things in your pencil box, a connection between me and my friends, it's a reminder. Here at the end, it seems to me this is summary. Let's listen to the summary.
So I think I would definitely regard them as a connection and as a reminder of our friendship and our relationship.
In part 1, 90% of the time it's better not to give a summary, because you're just going to repeat what you've already said. You're not going to introduce any new language or any grammar. You're just going to sound repetitive. And in part 1, where your answers are supposed to be pretty short, there's really no need for this. Okay, let's have a listen to this guy's answers in written form. Okay, here is the first response. We can see here we've got and. Lots of ands. He starts with an and. That is unusual. If you look here, he starts with an and again. Don't start your answers with and. It's just weird. Okay, I mentioned this already. If there is a conjunction, you cannot have an infinitive and a gerund on either side of the conjunction. Use both. If it's infinitive, use an infinitive on this side either. This take down, I do like that language. Take down some notes, that's good. Here he uses an article in a place he shouldn't be using an article. Come up with, oh yeah, I changed that, didn't I? Why is this still here? That shouldn't be there. He just didn't say anything, so it should be come up with some tasks. Here we see so. Necessity is pretty good. It's a necessity. That's good. Study progress, I don't know what that is. I would say a pen or a pencil is a necessity in a student's or in a college student's life. College student's life, not study progress. But only here does he actually start talking about himself. Remember, the question is about you. The question is not about college students in general. So why wait until here to start answering the question? Some mispronunciations. which makes it kind of hard to know what he was trying to say here in the end. This question, which I think is not very different from the first question. Let's see. Choose pen. Again, the article is missing. I would definitely choose a pen or the pen if you're talking about pens in general. Written with pen, not by. It's written by people. It's written with pen. Here we have plurals, but the verb is, so we have some grammatical mistakes. Here we have some repetition when you are writing with your pen. But at least here he says with, he doesn't say by. Some more repetition. Here is the wrong word. The pen is very smooth. I don't know what that means. You could say pens write very smoothly. Pens write very smoothly. But usually we say with a pen you can show good penmanship. I don't know what it means to be comfortable with your mind. That is not clear to me. Which is representative of Chinese calligraphy. I'm not exactly sure what he means by this, because I practiced my handwriting when I was a child. I never did any Chinese calligraphy. I'm not quite sure what the connection between these two is. Then he goes on to say, so besides, words can... I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to say here. Words can be... Oh, this is where... Okay, so when it comes to pencils, so besides, with a pencil you can erase what you've written. There are much easier, simpler ways to say what he's trying to say. So besides, you can use a pencil to erase what you've written, so you can correct your mistakes. I don't know what this is. Something that's not secure. That's a mystery to me. Trick. Okay, I mentioned that already. He does use some connectives. Like here we have so. Here we have so also. We have a relative clause, which is representative of. This is actually pretty good grammar. Here we see when it comes to changing topics, because here he talked about the pen. Now he wants to go on and talk about the pencil. So that shows some progression, I suppose, in his answer. But the number of mistakes, both grammatical and lexical, just make it really difficult to understand the message. Here he uses a discourse marker in a very confusing way. Here's some good referencing, that time referring to the final exams. I talked about the grammatical errors here before. Here we have so again. Wow, this is actually a pretty long sentence. Look at this here. Okay. Vocabulary here is really simple, except perhaps here. Address all the main points. That's the only highlight. So pretty simple vocabulary here. This answer, whoa, it's long. I mean, look at this here. This is how it's typed out. It's a very long answer. So here we have words used in the incorrect form, the verb instead of the adjective. This is confusing. I don't know why this is men. Here he starts off with first. He doesn't use and, but very quickly he goes back to and. And now we have but, so, and. So he does tend to use these simple words to start a lot of his sentences. But when people talk, they don't necessarily always start their words with conjunctions or adverbs. Let's see what is good here. I talked about this already. This should be consumer product, not consumable thing. I do like the modals that he used. The part here about the pencil box, like I said before, good grief, please don't talk about that. It's just too simple. There's nothing there. Modal here, would. I do like that again. I would definitely regard them as a connection and as a reminder of our friendship and our relationship. This is kind of confusing because your friendship is a relationship. So what is a friendship and a relationship? So maybe just friendship, not relationship, because this is a kind of relationship. So not necessary. Okay, and sample 3.
When was the last time you bought a pen or pencil?
Again, no article. It should be
So, well, actually, it's been a long time since I couldn't remember that clearly.
Okay. Actually, it's been a long time. That's fine. But why is he using the past tense here? I couldn't remember that clearly. If you cannot remember something now, then say I can't remember. Couldn't remember doesn't mean you can't remember now. It just means you couldn't remember before. So don't use the past tense when talking about remembering things. Since I can't remember that clearly. That's what he should have said.
Maybe 5 years ago, before I just took part in the university entrance exam.
Maybe 5 years ago, before I took part in, I think I mentioned before, the verb for exam is take. You take an exam. Take a test, take an exam. So just before I took the university entrance exam.
In the university entrance exam, you know, after becoming a college student, I got rid of the habit of using a pen or pencil.
You don't get out of a habit. You can drop the habit. So I dropped the habit of using a pen or a pencil, or I stopped using a pencil or a pen, but not got rid of. Got out of the habit. Got out of the habit. Or you could say I got out of the habit of using a pen or a pencil.
A pencil. The laptop and the mobile phone were my favorite. I mean, till now.
But if it's till now, then it should be have been. So or became. But then you can't say till now. So the laptop and the mobile phone became my favorite, and they still are even now. So the laptop and the mobile phone became my favorite, and they still are even now. This should be in the past, this should be in the present.
You know, see, using a pen...
Whoa, what's that?
You know, see...
You now see, I'm not sure.
Using a pen or pencil can be old-fashioned in my mind.
It's not in my mind, it's to my mind. If it's your opinion, it's to my mind. So using a pen or a pencil can be old-fashioned to my mind.
Not an effective and efficient.
It's effective, not effective. I think it's effective. Effective.
For study,
to study. This is a verb, so to, not for. Well, unless you're using study as a noun, I guess that's possible too. But make a habit of using to with verbs, for with nouns. But maybe he's using study as a noun, but I doubt it. Let's just go back a little bit.
I suppose that this habit wouldn't be changed any longer in the near future.
Wouldn't be changed any longer. I'm confused about the any longer. So has it been changed before? I don't understand. Because he says he likes laptops and mobile phones. So this habit wouldn't be changed any longer. Any longer. Why any longer?
It wouldn't be changed any longer in the near future.
Near future is pretty good. So not far future, near future.
So that's it.
Oh, don't answer your questions. Or don't answer... What am I saying? Don't end your answers with the phrase, so that's it. What a weird ending. Next question.
Have you ever given a pen or pencil as a gift?
Some mistakes here. Have you ever given a pen or a pencil as a gift?
Gift? Well, nope. I haven't. Since not a lot of people today like to use a pen or pencil in life.
What is he talking about? People It's not that people like using pens or pencils in life, it's just people use them. You don't need to like them to use them.
In the past, some of them might use a pen or pencil each day, both in life and work, or even like in studies.
Okay, the guy's speech is very slurred, so it's kind of hard to hear everything he's saying. In the past, some of them might have used. Did he say used?
Some of them might use a pen.
Nope, he said use. Each day. Well, I use a pen or a pencil every day. So, I don't know. Am I old-fashioned?
Pencil each day, both in life and work, or even like in studies.
I don't know what this is. Life work? I don't know what that is. I don't know what life is. Because work is part of life. Studying is part of life. I'm confused about this phrase here.
Buzz, I suppose that.
Buzz. But.
Buzz, I suppose says it wasn't that popular then.
It wasn't that popular then. What time is he referring to? When is this? In the past. Let's just go back to the question. Have you ever given a pen or a pencil as a gift? What is he talking about now? What does this have to do with giving gifts?
Buzz, I suppose says it wasn't that popular then. An iPad or any product could be more fashionable when giving and receiving gifts nowadays.
Have you ever given a pen or a pencil as a gift? So why is he speaking in such general terms? Part 1 is personal. So why not say I would rather give an iPad or some other kind of... Here he uses the word e-product. Why not say electronics? I would give an iPad or other electronics product as a gift.
Receiving gift nowadays. The traditional ones like the pens or pencils, for example, quite old-fashioned in my mind. So that's it.
Okay, here we have an adjective, quite old-fashioned. We have an adverb, that's nice, but where is the verb? The traditional ones, like the pens or pencils, for example, no be verb, are quite old-fashioned in my mind. Okay, so he starts off with the answer, no, and then he talks in very general terms about why people don't like pens or pencils. I mean, you can't argue with the guy's opinion. His opinion is his opinion. I'm just saying, part 1 is supposed to be personal. I mean, in part 3, you can talk in very general terms, but keep it personal in part 1. Okay, let's look at the written form. He put the answer right in the beginning. It's been a long time. I'm not sure about the appropriacy of using since here, but okay. Here he uses the wrong tense, some modals here, the wrong vocabulary. I took the university entrance exam. This marker, you know. I noticed that he uses this less now. Okay, so here we just saw one instance of this. Here, inappropriate vocabulary. But here, the habit of using, that is pretty good. The habit of V-I-N-G, that's pretty good. Here he uses the article correctly, the laptop, all laptops in general. Till now should be even now. Some mispronunciation, but nothing major. We can still understand what he's saying. I mean, unlike here where he slurred his speech and it was a little bit more difficult to know what he's saying. Some inappropriate vocabulary here. And when he talked about the habit, he said this habit. Now, referencing is good, but you just need to be clear about what you are referencing. Because this habit, so what is the habit here? Is the habit... I don't know. Because the previous sentence is not an effective and efficient way to study. So the habit, is it this? I'm not entirely sure. And then when it comes to the second one, again here, we have the answer right up front. That's good. He uses the correct tense here. The question is in the present perfect. He uses the present perfect here. In life, this phrase, I'm not too sure if that's the right phrase to use. I think you can just leave it out. Here he makes a concession. He says some of them might, using the modal. That's good. These concessions are okay because, well, issues are not always completely black and white. Some mispronunciations, but they don't really detract that much from the meaning. We can still understand what he's trying to say. But some inaccurate vocabulary, like he did say, it sounded to me like here he said live and work. I'm not sure, like I said before, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm not sure what the difference between life and work and study is. E-products, it's not wrong, but I mean, usually we say things like consumer electronics. We don't often say e-products. And some referencing. Here he says the traditional ones. I'm assuming the ones refers to gifts. So we have some referencing here that is pretty easy to understand. And some language problems here that I addressed before. Don't end your response by saying, so that's it. As far as cohesion goes, here he addresses the past. Here he goes on to talk about nowadays. So we can clearly see he's talking about two different things, two different time periods. And we have some basic linkers like but. Here at the end we have so, but I don't think you should really use that. And that's about it. Alright, let's continue with sample 4.
Do you usually use pen or pencil?
Oh, I never even corrected this question. Let's put in an article. I mean, it's a bad sign if they don't get the question right. Okay, so do you usually use a pen or pencil? Let's see if she chooses one or neither or both.
Not really. I nearly use my computer to do.
Is this word nearly? It sounds like nearly.
Not really. I nearly use my
I'm assuming she's trying to say usually, but man, that's what I hear. I really hear nearly. But that can't be the right word.
computer to do everything. Computers become small and thin nowadays.
Computers have become. Okay, so here she's using the wrong tense. Computers have become small and thin. Maybe she means portable. Computers have become so portable nowadays.
Nowadays, they can be carried to every corner of the world.
Okay, some more mispronunciation. It's world, not word. And why doesn't she link these two sentences? Because there's a clear connection between the fact that they can be carried and the fact that they've become small, as she said. So computers have become so portable that you can take them everywhere. That's what I would have said. I would not have said they can be carried to every corner of the world. It's not wrong. Personally, I wouldn't have said that. I mean, if you want to, sure, go ahead. Say, computers have become portable, so they can be taken, maybe not carried, they can be taken to every corner of the world. But I mean, do you really do this? Do you take computers to every corner of the world? Probably not.
Corner of the world. I can take notes by my computer.
On my computer. So wrong preposition.
And use some software functions to solve problems in
software. It's software, and it's not software functions. It's just software. I can use some software to
functions to solve problems encountered in daily life.
This word is encountered. Use some software to solve problems I encounter in daily life. Wish you would give an example.
It's really convenient.
Fair enough. Biggest problem here, this is so short, we can just look at it here. Biggest problem here is mispronunciation and wrong word choices. Like saying computers have become small and thin. I mean, small and thin, this is such basic vocabulary. Why not say portable? And carried, yeah, but why not say taken? These two sentences are not linked. Wrong word choices again, using the wrong preposition. Software functions, wrong vocabulary again. So really it's content and a little bit of delivery with the mispronunciations. Alright, let's move on to sample 5.
Do you usually use pen or pencil?
Okay, this person also does not use an article for some reason.
I do usually use a pen.
Notice the stress on do. I do usually use a pen.
Simply because I find it easier to write with a pen. On the other hand, it is much easier for other people to read ink rather than pencil.
But then why use the phrase on the other hand? On the other hand is when you want to describe a contrasting aspect. So there are some advantages, for example, but on the other hand, there are also some disadvantages. You're talking about things that are different. But here he's talking about a positive. It's easier to write with a pen. And then he's talking about another positive. It's easy for people to read. So if you have two positives, you can't use on the other hand. You should use a phrase like additionally. About the read ink, yeah, it's a bit strange. I wouldn't say it's wrong. I mean, you could say it's easier for people to read things written in ink, but read ink, it's okay, I think. Next question.
What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present?
Again, I don't think this question is correct. I think it should have been what would you think, but anyway.
I think it is very neat and pleasant if someone gives me a pen as a present.
Okay, so this guy also uses the present tense, so presumably this happens to him often.
However, if it's on a major holiday or celebration, such as Christmas or my birthday, I would expect a present that is a little bit more expensive than just a pen.
Okay, what's good here is major holiday or celebration, and then he gives examples, so we know what he's talking about. Here he uses, in my opinion, the correct modal would, because this is not something that's really happened.
That is a little bit more expensive than just a pen.
Oh, and the pronunciation here is so good. Look at when he says a little bit more expensive.
It's a little bit more expensive.
How those words flow into each other.
Than just a pen. But for the most part, I would feel very delighted if someone gives me such a small and delicate gift.
Okay, a little bit of a grammatical mistake here at the end. Here, but for the most part, I would feel. He uses would here, so this has to be in the past tense. So I would feel very delighted if someone gave me. Would goes with gave. Does not go with the present tense. Present tense will be will. For example, I will feel very delighted if someone gives me, or I feel very delighted if someone gives me. This response is also very short. I don't think we really need to look at the structure too much. Let's just move on to sample 6.
Pen and pencil. Do you really use pen or pencil?
Okay, the topic should be plural, and again the article is missing.
Well, if we're talking about Apple Pen, I
had to Google Apple Pen because I didn't know what Apple Pen was. Okay, there we have it, Apple Pen. I put a question mark there, but I think it's correct. the Apple pen, maybe?
Yes, but for regular pens, I guess not. Especially pencils, it is just very annoying to constantly sharpen them.
Okay, so this woman has a very strong accent, making the word sometimes not so very clear. There's not much I can say. I mean, she hates pencils because she needs to sharpen them all the time. We've got this adverb constantly going with sharpen. We've got the adjective annoying, so it's some pretty good language. It's just very short, but good language.
Which do you use more often? Pen or pencil?
Again with the article.
If I have to pick one, I will go for pen.
Okay, and here again, she used an article. If I have to pick one, I will go for a pen, or I would go for a pen, because this is if. Oh, she says have. If I have to pick one. No, that's fine. If I have to pick one, I will go for a pen. So instead of choose, she says go for. That's not bad.
You know, pencils always break and it takes ages to sharpen them.
Yeah, but see, the problem now is that she's repeating what she said before. In the earlier answer, she talked about sharpening pencils. Now she's talking about sharpening pencils again. That doesn't show a range of vocabulary if you use the same words again and again and again. Problem. Don't repeat your answers. Next question.
When was the last time you bought a pen or pencil?
And actually, that question is okay. She said, right. Yay! Here we have an article. Alright.
Let me see. A couple of days ago.
I should probably put a comma there. A couple of days ago. Alright?
Couple of days ago. I bought a pen from airport as I couldn't find one to sign for some paper.
Okay, some more language problems. And this answer is really long. I bought a pen from airport. Okay, two problems. Number one, it should be the airport, or okay, the airport. If to make it simple, if you're talking about airports, it's pretty safe to use the article the. Now, you can't really buy a pen from the airport because the airport doesn't sell pens. The shops at the airport sells pens. So I bought a pen at the airport, not from the airport. If you buy something from someone else, it means this person or this company sells you the pen. The airport didn't sell her the pen, the shop did. So she bought a pen at the airport. And then here again, I had to sign for some paper. You don't sign for paper unless you are receiving paper. Like for example, if you get a package, you need to sign for the package, then you get the package. I don't think she had to sign to receive some paper. She just had to sign some paper. There's no for.
What do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present? Personally, I don't like that. Even a pen or pencil can be really fancy. I still prefer things like books.
And I didn't even put a period there. Let's just put a period there. Okay, again, some language problems. There's a word missing here. Even though. So even though a pen or pencil can be really fancy, I still prefer things like books. And you know what's going to happen? The examiner is going to ask you why, because the answer is so short. Let's see. Personally, I don't like that. That's fine. Problem is, answer is too short. Let's move on to sample 7.
Okay, so let's talk about pen and pencil.
Pens and pencils.
Which do you use more often, pen or pencil?
Okay, this guy is hard to make out. Very strong accent, some slurred speech.
Definitely pens. Actually, I just don't even get a pencil, but
What?
Actually, I just don't even get a pencil in my phone.
Actually, I don't even just get a pencil something. I don't even get a pencil. I don't know what it means. I don't even get a pencil. There's some part I don't understand, but the part I do understand, I can't quite make out what it means. Get a pencil? Buy pencils? Buy?
So I always use my pens just to record my life and make some to-do list on my notebooks.
To record my life. It's a bit strange. Do people really use pens to record their life? What does that mean? Does he keep a journal? Is that what he means? I use my pen to keep a journal. To-do list, that's pretty good, but it's the wrong preposition. You don't make lists on your notebook, you make lists in your notebook. Language is good, to-do list. Grammar, not so good, wrong preposition.
So sometimes I think traditional way is enough for me, yeah.
I'm guessing he wanted to say me, but it's bad, it sounds like my.
Enough for me, yeah.
I find traditional ways enough for me. Okay, I guess the traditional ways is writing by pen?
Okay. When was the last time you bought a pen? Around a week ago.
I like the around, that's pretty nice.
Maybe. There's a stationery shop just near the flat I live in, so I bought a pen there, which is off-brand.
An off-brand pen. I don't even know what that is. I mean, it's not wrong to say off-brand, but do off-brand pens exist? I've never heard of that.
And not very good to use.
Not very good. Okay, in English, let's drop the to use. You just say something is not very good. You don't say something is not very good to use. So I bought an off-brand pen there, which was not very good. Off-brand pen. I need to Google that later. I've never heard of off-brand pens.
Not very good to use. I can't even write down things smoothly.
Okay, you do write smoothly with better quality pens, I suppose. So smoothly is a good adverb to use with write. Oh, wait a second. He didn't say can, did he?
I can't even write down.
Yeah, I'm sure he said can't, not can. Oh, I can't. I can't even write down things smoothly. Alright. Good adverb. Let's move on.
Well, what do you think if someone gives you a pen or pencil as a present?
See, all these people are using the same incorrect question. So I wonder who leaked the question but got the question wrong. Okay, here we go.
Well, personally, I think it is acceptable if he or she just want to show politeness to me.
Personally, I think it's not wrong, but I'm not a big fan of saying personally and I think together. It's not wrong. It is okay to say personally I think, personally I believe, but is it really necessary? Because what you think is personal to yourself. Well, okay, maybe that's just my own gripes. Let's see. Instead of he or she, why not say they? So I think it's acceptable if they just want to show politeness to me. They. I mean, to say he or she is not wrong. But if you say they, it's just a little bit less cumbersome.
Politeness to me. But it seems that he or she...
See, now here he says he or she again. It's a little bit awkward to always say he or she. Why not just say they?
is not very patient to pick out a good gift.
Okay. Now, it's a little bit... Okay, acceptable, but not great. Okay, I guess that's how he feels. But it seems... Why not say, but I might feel that they didn't want to take the time. I don't think patient is really the right word here. but I might feel like they didn't want to take the time to pick out a good gift. So some problems with the language. Patient is not, maybe he really does mean patience, or patient rather, but I'm 90% sure what he really wants to say is take the time. Alright, and that's it for pens and pencils.